Welcome in. Final days of Media Day in Tampa. But you know, the AAC meetings will begin. They will start, I'm not sure if it's late tonight or tomorrow for sure, in St. Petersburg, right across the Bay Bridge. Looking forward to watching and seeing all of that. We will discuss that with Corey Glore. He will join us here in about 5 minutes. We'll talk some AAC storylines. Today it's Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas. Nice story, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet. Our friend Jonah Dillon, who joins us usually on Fridays, he will not be here tomorrow because he will be in St. Pete, and I believe Tim Pernetti is speaking at the time that he would be with us. But he wrote a good story about the years of Ryan Silverfield being here. 10 years of his life, Silverfield was with the Tiger program. He was 50 and 25 in his years as the head coach. That's not chop liver, 50 and 25. 50 wins, 6 years. You do the math. Most coaches would take that. The one thing he didn't get, and the one thing he says in that article that was his regret, was that he did not win a conference championship. He had some big W's, that's for sure. It all began when he was the interim coach for Mike Norvell, who took off to Florida State. Who could blame him? And then he was the coach against Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. And we all went to Jerry's World, and I can remember Greg Gaston and I taking pictures together on the field. It was really amazing event. First of all, the Cotton Bowl, I don't know if it still has all the pop and circumstance because, let's be honest, the Bulls have lost some of that flair. But that was like the most activities. I covered it when I worked in Dallas in 85. The most activities, the most fun of any bowl. It's truly an amazing thing, from the hotels you're put in to everything that goes along with it. And he darn well near knocked off Penn State. I mean, that was close. Unfortunately, the quarterback made an error late in the game, then they had a chance to drive down and win the game. And the guy that beat the Tigers turns out to be one of the great NFL defensive players, and that's Micah Parsons. That was, I think, one of the high moments, and even though it was a loss, in the Mike Norvell era, because you found out right then and there the guy can be a head coach. And he was 50 and 25. And now, man, has he got a daunting task. I was listening as Greg and Eli were talking to that guy from the media in Arkansas. Their schedule is so tough. And, you know, you're talking about 4 losses for sure. What was it? Georgia, Texas, A&M, somebody else that they'll be big underdogs in. And then the games they got to win. Vandy, well, I don't know. That's not a given anymore. I mean, Tennessee, you think that's a given? By the way, congratulations. They just got a 5-star quarterback away that was going to go to, I think, to Ohio State, and ended up going to Tennessee. Josh Heupel, if he has the right quarterback, that system, I'm a believer in Heupel. I really am. But Ryan, you know, maybe he should come in dressed as, you know, he loves wrestling, dressed as a heel or something, because he's got to stand out today with Sarkisian, with Kiffin.
Should dress as Hellraiser, a version of Razorback or something.
Somebody. He's got to do something. Arch Manning. I mean, that's a big group today. So, and that will be the end of the SEC Media Days, and really camps start, and you know, we still got a month before it really feels real, but college football is on the doorstep. Baseball last night, Boston's Red Sox saw their streak come to an end, so now they're tied for the longest streak in history. That I think the last time it happened was 80 years ago. That's amazing. That's the most in all their history that they've won 15 games in a row. That's how hard it is. And because of that, I'm corrected. They got a running back. Tennessee got a running back. Thank you. Got a text on the text line. Sissy's Log Cabin text line. I lost my thought there with the news that it was a running back, but I believe in Heupel, but he needs a quarterback, and he's got a couple of guys that are unproven but have a lot of potential.
Ohio State's been losing a couple. They lost a 5-star wide receiver to Indiana recently too. So,
that's a little surprising,
especially since they're wide receiver U. So
yeah, they've always had decent quarterbacks too. You got to have that if you're going to win a championship. That's what makes Arch Manning so incredible. Here's what I was saying: the Red Sox, who've won those 15 games in a row, that gets them 3 games over 500. But now they're a wild card team, which gets us the trade deadline is coming, and the Cardinals, who are now 3 games over 500, are only half a game back of the wild card. So I think with the trade deadline, they should be buyers or looking and trying, because they can make the wild card, and they shouldn't be sellers. That is for sure. Caitlin Clark, I don't understand the WNBA and this thing with Caitlin Clark. I know we've been over it a long time, but she picked up her 7th tee yesterday. It's the end of a game where they're killing the competition, and this other girl reaches in and fouls Caitlin, or maybe it's the other way, and they have words, and she says something sarcastic, and Caitlin Clark says, "Scoreboard, got a T for that." 8 Ts. It's like the NBA. 8 Ts, you're suspended a game, and then every 2 Ts after that. So now, that just seems, I don't know, if I were her, I'd appeal that.
You have to.
That's just crazy. And as we get set and talk to Corey Glore here. He's already set up? So quick. I feel bad for Charlie Woods. I mean, first of all, the guy is, anytime he steps on a golf course, they're going to follow him like they did his dad until he proves to be mediocre, if that's the case. I hope that's not the case. I mean, he was brilliant in those father-son things. And he's going to play college golf, but here he is at the Junior U.S. Open, or the Junior Amateur, excuse me, trying to make the medal round, and he gets into a playoff. There's 2 spots, 14 guys. They're on this par 5. He doesn't hit a great second shot. He's in the rough, but he could still get up and down, and he had to birdie it in order to continue in the playoff, and he duffed the shot because a camera clicked in the middle of his swing. I mean, that's just tough luck for Charlie Woods. And I just imagine he's grown up with a camera in his face. As much as he tries to be private, it's mission impossible. There's sympathy I feel for Charlie Woods. In the meantime, as I sit here in the Family Leisure Studio, I remind you the Ultimate Pool Party, that's continuing. You can get those above ground pools. That's their specialty for years. Under $4,000. Now they do in-ground pools, state-of-the-art, new technology. Those things can be expensive. This, I know it sounds high, but it's $50,000. That's a good price, under $50,000, and all in-stock patio furniture purchased quickly is priced to move. I promise you. Go check it out. You get a free umbrella with a base. If you buy now and also mention us, you get $200 off the price of a pool or a spa. That's Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. We head to New Orleans. I can't wait for the round table to set up. I guess it'll be like Wednesdays, replacing our golf picks, and that will be getting right before the football season starts. Corey Glore and, of course, Bruce Howard from Tulsa will join us. But Corey here today, and Corey, I look at the Phil Steele and the ESPN power rankings on the American, and I honestly believe 6 teams could win because there's just so many questions. Who do you think is the best team in the American?
Well, good to be back with you.
Yeah.
Good morning. I look forward to our pre-roundtable pool party, and then we will get the season underway.
Well, you know what? I've got an in-grounder. Come on in.
All right, let's do it.
Come on up.
I mean, I feel like each and every year we start off the year by having this similar type of conversation where you can look at, half the league and say, all right, here's the case why. It's interesting to me where it feels like these early prognostications are so all over the map that it's hard to zero in on one, because you can look at the teams from last year that were in contending spots, and almost all of them, if not all of them, you could make the case of changed coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And the vast majority of that group has a huge roster turnover. And so I think the best way to try and approach this is that you start with who the coaches are, you start with the resources involved, and then you just try and piece together what names ring out to you on rosters at this point of the year, especially before camp. You have a South Florida, you have a Tulane, you have a Memphis, you have a North Texas, you have a Navy, you have maybe a UTSA. Like, these are kind of the things I'm thinking of here.
I'm going to throw East Carolina in there as well.
Yeah, who's got their coach is still there, but they had like an 80% bleed out on their roster, and so it's just like, how do you know? But it's fascinating, because all the teams, all the names you think of that should be in the discussion, well, you have new staffs across almost all of them here, or if they don't have that, they have almost entirely new roster, or sometimes both. So I think that creates what we've seen the last few years, a totally unpredictable conference until you get towards November.
So those new coaches you just mentioned, Huff, Memphis, Will Hall to you guys in New Orleans, Brian Hartline to USF to replace Alex Golish, Neil Brown to North Texas as Eric Morris departs to the Big 12. You got any feel for which coach is going to become the new darling?
I'm definitely intrigued about Brian Hartline. His name had been circling around some of these searches the previous couple of years, and just with what South Florida pours in resource-wise to their programs, he's going to have a lot to play with there. And they were one bad game against Navy away from playing for a championship last season. So that, to me, is the most intriguing one. The fact that, what you've got now in Memphis, you can look at the last 2 years at two different spots with Charles Huff and just see kind of an immediate impact on what he did at Marshall and then Southern Miss. And so he is not one to waste time to get things back on track or on a better track. There's the question around Tulane is whether Will Hall is the guy. This is a rare roster here in this league that didn't actually turn over a ton from last year. This is an extremely talented roster when you think about what they did last year and how much of that is back. The question is whether a guy who struggled big time at Southern Miss is the guy here. And if that won't be answered until this year comes to an end. So I think there's more of a curiosity outside of New Orleans whether Will Hall's the guy, and maybe not the question of, is he the darling of the league?
I think that's fair. I mean, if you look at this, all right, I think Hartline, because he comes from Ohio State, is the guy that everybody goes, okay, well, that's a hell of a hire. And Huff has had success. Will Hall lost the program at Southern Miss that Huff came in and did decently with. So I think that's fair, because that was I think the one hire here where you're going, really, that was surprising.
Yeah, that's fair. When you talk to Coach Hall, when you kind of are around the program, and even when you talk to people at Hattiesburg, which I've done, and I'm sure you have done here as well, talking about Coach Huff here, is that, Will Hall starts things off in 2021, and that is right at the beginning of the era of college sports we live in now, and transfer portal and NIL and just what it is. And was Southern Miss fully ready for that? And was Will Hall ready to wrap his arms around that when it just got underway? People here say the answer was no. Well, Tulane's in a much better position with all of that than Southern Miss was when Will Hall started. And so that's where I think, a lot of people here are saying, no, that this is the right guy here, because when he stepped in, he has won at various other levels as a head coach, just not at Southern Miss. And were they ready to attack this current era of college sports back in 2021? I think we've seen the last couple of years that they probably weren't. Now, with Will Hall having the resources that John Summerall did here at Tulane the last couple of years, now he gets to prove if he is truly that type of guy.
Tomorrow, I believe, is the day the commissioner, Tim Permetti, takes to the dais.
Yeah.
Two things. What do you expect to hear from Tim Permetti? What do you want to hear from Tim Permetti?
I expect to hear some glowing things about the American Conference football strength and its comparison to, say, other Power 4 leagues. And
Power 4 or Group of 6? Really, you think Power 4?
I think you'll hear quite a bit about what the American is compared to, say, the ACC, and I think he will probably try and attack that a little bit when he takes the dais here. Maybe a little bit of Big 12, but I mean, Tim Pernetti's asking Brett Yormark to do the ice bucket challenge, so maybe they have a good relationship. I don't know if he'll go after them or not, but he's going to beat the drum about the American strength as a football conference, and it is certainly the bell cow of what the American is now. It's not going to be the place or the time to discuss what else exists with the other programs and the other sports in the American. That will probably come in October, but he's going to pump that up. He will discuss and say rather diligently about an expanded playoff and the Americans in Group of 6 spot in it, and he will fight for that. What I would, and I'll probably talk quite a bit about, private equity and getting funding in, and that the American has announced a fair amount of partnership deals or extensions.
New deals, new sponsors,
all coming out this week. And so that is going to be hyped up, and what that does to bolster the league and its finances. What I would like to hear him say is whether he believes that the league itself is where he thought it would be entering his third year of running the league. And he's going to talk a lot about football, but you can look at a lot of other sports and say, is this truly where the American is supposed to be, where he thought it would be at this time? And I doubt we're going to hear that. I'm also curious if someone asked him in that room about his pursuit for the NFLPA job back this spring, and whether he was really interested in the longevity of this league or whether he was trying to use it to get somewhere else. And then we'll see about what the Save College Sports Act, if that comes up. I'm sure it will, and trying to regulate transfers and NIL. He was in the room when this all started back in, about late last year. He didn't have much to say. He wasn't really asked to say much. He does not have a voice at the table. And with news about Greg Sankey saying the SEC will eventually leave the NCAA, does he truly have an input in all of this when it comes to college sports? That I doubt.
That message by Sankey is just to say, we don't believe in this legislation. Please don't pass it. And I'll get into that more in a second. Here is what I expect to hear from Pernetti. He should be banging the drum that this is the best Group of 6 league, and that they have 7 teams that are capable of being the rep in the playoff, and that I would bang that highly. What I would, and I don't expect him to say too much about the Save College Sports Act, because there's teams in his league that don't like that legislation, being Memphis and Tulane, because they think they can get into a Power 6 conference eventually with USF. Those 3 schools don't like this legislation with the language that's in there at the moment. Now, that's supposed to be changed, but at the moment it's not. And then there's all the other schools that he should be going, yeah, we like this legislation because it locks you in. So he's got to be careful with what he says there. Here's what I'd like for him to say. This is what I want to hear him say. I am getting the same deal on ESPN that the last commissioner was able to secure. That makes us the best Group of 6 team. Because that that deal's up in a couple of years, right?
Yeah, they had an extension not too long ago. I think that was one of the last things that got happened before Pernetti signed. So I don't know the exact end date of the deal, but yeah, I mean, the exposure of the league on the football field is still better than what the Mountain West is going to turn into, what the new Pac-12 is going to look like, certainly what the MAC and the Sun Belt and Conference USA have. And so, yeah, it's a good thing to tout. And he comes from a media background. He was from ESPN.
Right.
And so, like, this was part of why he was brought in, outside of also being an athletic director in the past. And so working on that side of things. So this is a major reason why he was brought in, to secure things like this for the longevity of the league. It's, you know, you got enough member schools here. He's not going to be able to bat 1,000 with how many he keeps happy. You know, you and I have discussed quite a bit the number of events, like even media days, that are suddenly in Tampa, and trying to maybe keep South Florida happy amongst the other schools here, to give them kind of home games for postseasons and whatnot. So he's never going to bat 1,000. So I do think he'll address the Save College Sports Act, because the majority of his league is probably far more interested in what the current or future writings of that situation will be than maybe some of the minority who you think of at the top right now.
I have no idea how that's going to play out. I mean, there's no question that there needs to be fiscal guidelines in terms of rev share and NIL in order to even keep the big boys on the level playing field. And the expansion thing is all about trying to keep the SEC and the Big Ten from pulling away from everybody. And that makes sense to me as well. But then there's other thing, you know, Cody Campbell, the guy that started this whole movement, you could say, the guy who's the donor for Texas Tech, you know, he makes some sense that there should be some rev sharing between the big boys and all of the conferences. And I'm not talking just ACC or Big 12. I'm talking MAC and American and the new Pac-12 and the Mountain West, because there's so much money there that they deserve a shot at some of that to keep them relevant. But I have no idea how this is going to play out. You have any sense?
No, I mean, I remember, I think it was this time last year when the commissioner and the league announced the minimum amount of rev share that member schools need to hit, and that was going to steadily potentially increase as the years went along here. I wonder if there's going to be any additions or changes to what that is. I haven't heard much of any complaints from people around the league about what that is. It was not a very high number for schools to reach, but I do wonder, with the tea leaves always changing here, with now more corporate sponsorships coming in the league, if that number maybe starts to go up for schools to have to hit here in order to at least fulfill the minimum the league wants to require. I also can't wait to see Soar standing up there next to him on the pulpit as he gives his 25-minute address.
Should be fun. We will see. All right, we'll be talking here again in a few weeks. Can't wait for the roundtable, and appreciate your input this morning.
Thanks, Wolo. Appreciate it.
That's Corey Glore. He is the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. We take a break. We're heading downtown in a minute. Pete Pranica is going to join us in the final segment, but the Hall of Famer Jarvis Greer comes your way in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
Memphis is a love song to soul and style. With the full suite of sought-after designers, brilliant natural diamonds, an elegant bar, luxury VIP lounge, and more, a trip to our store is an experience like no other. just like the city we love. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience Sissy's for yourself. Memphis is our home, and we're your jeweler.
Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
It's time for SEC Media Days. Join Brett Norsworthy as he broadcasts live from Tampa Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming SEC football season and brings you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC insiders. Tune into Sports Time with Stats and Bryant Dacus from 3 to 6, and also hear from Stats throughout the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Jason's Deli, Gould's Salon and Spa, Jim's Place in Collierville, and All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back in. We're heading downtown. The Hall of Famer, Jarvis Greer, standing by. We're in PR mode. The SEC Media Days wrapping up today. The American tomorrow. What's your thoughts on what you've heard so far from SEC Media Days? Good morning.
SEC Media Days. The only thing I'm really interested in is like what they're saying about Arkansas and Coach Silverfield, Ryan Silverfield. I think that he's going to bring stability to that program, and they will be physical, and they will, if he's got the offensive line, they will run the football. You know, he's got Sutton Smith over there with him, who really came out and had a really great season his last year here at Memphis, and now he's transferred to the Hogs. So, but the thing is that ship will button up over there. Like, he's not the most media, he's not the outgoing guy. You know, he's not going to be like Calipari and glad handing and all this and that, but he's going to be the guy that's constantly working to get the program where it needs to be. So, you know, who cares how much he talks to the media and all that other stuff, other than maybe that buys you time if you're not having a good year, who was that here at Memphis that had in basketball that's now at UNLV?
Josh Pastner?
Pastner. I think he got another year or so because he was so good with good to the media. I'll put it that way. He will make things work.
Josh took the school to a bunch of NCAAs.
Yeah,
Josh had top-notch recruiting classes almost all the time. So I don't know. I don't know if it was because
you and I both
he
know
was good with the media.
You and I both know once that train starts rolling down the track on the wrong side, it's really hard to stop it unless you do win a championship or something or other like that. And that, you know, that's just the way it goes in sports, unfortunately, or however you want, whichever way you want to look at it. I think Silverfield will do well at Arkansas. I really do.
Well, you look at his schedule; it is one tough cookie, but
it's not going to happen overnight. With that schedule, I mean, gee whiz, you put Alabama against that schedule, and they're going to struggle.
Yeah. All right. What do you expect to hear from Tim Pernay? I was just talking with Corey Glower about that.
I was listening to that.
I can't wait to hear what he's got to say, and I do think the league is clearly the best of the Power Six. I would not, at this point, correlate it with any of the Power Four leagues. And, you know, maybe the proof will be in the pudding in the playoffs on that when one of the reps you're hoping gets into the playoff from this particular league. But I think it's going to be one heck of a football race this year. I have no idea who is the best team.
Nobody has an idea. Yeah, they're just spitting in the wind, all these projections by Athlons and all these other magazines, this and that. And they got Memphis 5th and they got Memphis 4th, and I think, does somebody have Memphis 3rd? I don't know, but there's like all kinds of
somebody does. Somebody does, but Phil, this is the craziest thing, okay?
And they got Navy, like they have a lot of them have Navy at number 1. How is Navy going to be number 1 when they lost what they lost? They lost Horvath, who was one of the best quarterbacks that they've ever had, and they've had some great ones. They lost Fagot, that linebacker that was really good. They lost Heidenreich, that flanker that was excellent. And what was it, Texa? I mean, they lost a lot of their offense.
Yes.
And I know they had a senior offensive line last year. And, Navy was really, really, really – they came in here in the Liberty Bowl. Of course, they beat Memphis there late in the season after it was clear that, Ryan Silverfield might be on his way out. And they won the Liberty Bowl handily against Cincinnati. And then you're going to come back. Now, I know they have a program where they can stash guys, over there on the side, and they work out just like they're going to play. It's almost like a JV program that they have. And I know the backup quarterback that played for Horvath last year was really good, but they lost so much else.
Yeah, and
so
Horvath.
Unless they're like a submarine, you know what I mean? That's lurking in the waters, and all of a sudden here come these ICBMs out of the belly. I just don't see it.
I can't believe this guy's going to be as fast as Horvath either. Here's where I'm confused. Phil Steele, I believe, and I think Phil Steele's great. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, he's as most dialed in as anybody.
Phil Steele has the Tigers 6, okay? If you look at their defense, you've got Jamon Tapp and Jaden McKinney, first team all-conference, right there up front. Mike Montgomery, first team up front. They've got 3 defensive backs. Ian Foster, first team. Not Amir Foster. Dylan Smith's fourth team. Chauncey Logan is third team. So 3 of the defensive backs. He's got like 6 guys on the defense.
These are mostly all guys that Huff brought with him.
Yeah, that are all conference. Then you've got 3 offensive linemen that are all conference. With the best one, Philip Gray, third team. Then you've got Martin Woodsma, who's going to be speaking at these things, and Riley McGee. They're all on third or fourth team. That's impressive. So I don't quite understand why defense is the strength of this team on paper. I don't quite understand why they're picked 6th when he's got so many guys on the all-conference team.
Yeah, and especially when you have defense, that means you're going to be in the game. No matter what, you will be in the game if your defense is ranked that highly at the end. But the deal, to me, it's like, what's that game, Jenga or whatever. You put all these beads in a jar, you shake them up and you roll them out, and whatever the numbers come up, or Plinko or something like that. And it's just like, who knows, man? I mean, who knows? It's hard to tell. You would think like UTSA would be up there where they got their quarterback back, but, he doesn't have anybody, I don't think, giving him another playbook, like we all know that we won't talk about. But they lost like 80% of their guys through transfer. So they got the quarterback back, but what else do they have? Which means they had to bring in 80%.
Right. Well, Tulane's got maybe the most returners. Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane has the most return, and they have USF picked over Memphis, and USF lost one of the best quarterbacks that's played in this league ever.
Yeah.
And Byron Brown, and of course the Tigers beat him last year, and then they had a big, huge turnover, and like Memphis got waxed in the bowl game, got beat in their bowl game because
nobody played.
They lost everybody.
Right.
Everybody like opted out.
Right.
And so it's really something. People talk about, you got the most money, you should win. Well, that don't work all the time. The Yankees have the most money. They don't win all the time. The Mets have way over a lot of money. They don't win all the time. It's not.
They lose most of the time.
Yeah, it's not a given that money is going to make it happen. It's whatever the guys got in them and whatever the leadership is. And I think the Tigers have a really good leader in Charles Huff. But just to say that if they're picking all those people for all conference, and they're picking Memphis to have the best defense in the league, then that to me tells me the Tigers will be in every game until you get late, and then we'll see what happens then. And that's pretty much all you can ask for.
The one thing I do hate is that schedule. I mean, I can't wait for it. It's really incredible. But
you hate it to love it.
You got to start with at UNLV, the number 2 team by most prognosticators in the group of 6. and you're on the road there on a game that it starts 9:00 Memphis time. Then you got to play Arkansas State. Well, for them,
which means that we won't get back until what, like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
on Sunday morning.
5, 6 anyway, something like that. Then you got Arkansas State. For them, that's a rivalry game, and Butch Jones is not chopped liver. Then you got to go to Boise, and that's the number 1 group of 6 team. If you survive that, all your toughest games are on the road at Tulane, at South Florida, at Navy.
Yeah, you don't get a break after that.
No.
You know, it's just like, well, hey, it's like the SEC sort of. You know, I'm not going to compare to the SEC, but I mean, it's a gauntlet for sure.
If you make the playoff from that, if you win enough games from that, you'll be prepared to maybe win a playoff game.
Oh yeah, you'll be worthy, definitely. And you asked me what I want Pernetti to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if he won't be able to say anything like this, but this is just me musing right now as I sit here in my palatial diggings downtown on the island, looking at the river go by. It's like, I wonder if he and the Mountain West and the Pac-12, if they're thinking about, well, if they don't do this Save Football Act or whatever they're calling it, and if these other guys go and expand or run away, why don't we just combine and do our thing, and you'll still have a good league. I don't know.
But is he going to be the chief? Who's the Pac-12 commissioner?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everybody's wants to protect their own little fiefdom, right? And this is the whole deal about it, Dave. Everybody is me, self. It's all about me and my league, and I don't care about anybody else. What can I do for me? And that's what's got us in this, in this mess. Well, and I call it a mess because it's like, why in heck? Yeah, the Big Ten and the SEC have turned into the big dogs, but they've got like everything, and they don't want anybody else to have anything. They want to shut everybody else. Look, we'll expand our schedule, and we're not going to play you. We're not going to play you in a bowl game if it comes to that, because you are beneath us. So we're Coca-Cola, and you're Fat Tab or something like that. We're in the middle of the shelf on the grocery aisle, and Tab, you're on either the bottom or the very tip top where you can't even see it. So, that I think that's the greed of the leagues and the commissioners and the presidents.
The commissioners are paid by the schools in order to protect the interest of those schools. What you have to have is some objective governing person that will take in the best interest of the sport.
Correct.
Over the league. And I don't know that the leagues will ever surrender that kind of possibility.
Something's going to shake out here because we said Huff and the president Dr. Bill Hartgrave, Coach Huff, the football coach, said, look, 2028, that's going to be a big shakeout point because that's when all this maneuvering's got to be done before all the contracts go in 2030, the TV contracts, media deals, and all that stuff. So we got 2 years to figure this out. And let's hope it gets figured out right. And the stadium looks great, by the way.
I was just going to ask you. This is the last thing because I'm in a hurry as always.
Why you in a hurry with me, Dave? Come on now, we go way back.
Why? I love you. It's just that the clock doesn't care who the heck I'm talking to.
Yeah, that's right. Father Time don't care.
So you went on that tour. I was not able to go on that tour, and you heard what Dr. Ed Scott had to say. Give me a quick, 2-minute, because you can go long, 2-minute breakdown of what you saw on that stadium tour.
Well, the West Tower is it's fabulous. It's just about finished, not quite. They've got all the build out done. Now it's the punch list stuff. Like if you buy a house, what's the punch before you put the furniture in and all that stuff. But the suites are way closer to the field than they were when it was, the way the stadium was built, because it's vertical. Mm-hmm. So you're 88 feet closer to the field. It feels like you're almost on top of the field, even when you're on the top level of suites. And these suites, Dave, you remember what it was like at, I'm not going to say Jerry's World, but say Georgia or one of these other stadiums, the Superdome, or one of these other stadiums that have in their halo area. It's just absolutely fabulous. Oh, when we went to Tampa at Raymond James Stadium, the areas look that and even better. And there's waterfalls, there's great lighting, marble. It's just it's for the fat cat donors, but they're the ones that are supporting the program. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they should have something great. The seats on the outside are fans. And one big thing about the tower, you get free access to the party plaza. And that party plaza is actually pretty cool. I'm telling you, now, they still had a lot of construction stuff on it. But you're right on top of the field, basically. And, they're going to sell another 1,000 tickets to other people around the stadium, or get a wristband, because they're only going to allow 3,000 in there to do the fire marshal. But that's a really cool deal. A lot of people that have been grousing they lost seats, I think, will really enjoy that.
I got to see it. I got to see it to believe it, because I want to know. I want to know what people in the tower are going to come down. I want to know what people in the suites on the other side are going to come, and I want to know what you're going to charge if you're in the end zone and they allow you in. How much more money you got to pay? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I got to go, my friend. We will talk next week. Thank you so much.
All right, Dave. Blowing me out.
That's our whole.
I appreciate the time, buddy. I appreciate the time.
I appreciate you switching.
Looking forward to football, man. It's almost here.
I know it. That's our Hall of Famer. That is Jarvis Greer. He's brought to you by another Hall of Famer. That's Ken. 80 years his family's been in the business of building dream homes or remodeling. He sees little details, big picture all at once. He's fun to talk to. If you would like to build your dream home, go to kengarland.com, see the website. You'll be amazed at what he's done around our Metroplex for all these years, he and his dad. Now Williams in the business. There's a third. The other thing they do, renovation. I call it renovation with innovation. They take all the modern amenities. They make your old home with the lot you love, the location that you love. They make it a modern palace. Just call Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. And with the weekend almost here, and you're ready to play some golf, temperature's going to go down then before they go up again next week. I'd go to Miramichi, 25 minutes from my house in down East Memphis. It's about 12 minutes away from Mud Island, downtown Memphis. It's in Woodstock. Miramichi's not in Millington. It's in Woodstock. It's close. It's great. Not just great golf, but a way to learn, because the practice facilities, second to none. Huge driving range. If you remember, they got memberships. You get your own little separate area. Huge chipping area. A sand trap to learn how to hit out of sand. Huge putting green. And then there's the deck. I think the best view in Shelby County, over 9 and 18. Enjoy a cold one after your round, looking out at the best view. It's the complete golf experience in Woodstock. It's Miramichi. We take a break. I'm not sure exactly where we're headed, but we're going to talk to Pete Prenica, who's fresh from out of town. I hope his plane has landed. He comes your way in just a minute.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Looking for that perfect piece that says forever? As did Grammy winner Lainey Wilson for her engagement. Discover the elegance of Holly Winter fine jewelry in Germantown. From stunning custom designs and engagement rings to timeless gifts she'll treasure for years, Holly Winter offers personalized service and beautiful fine jewelry for every occasion. Visit Holly Winter Fine Jewelry at the Shops of Forest Hill on Poplar, where Memphis finds sparkle, style, and something truly special. Holly Winter Fine Jewelry, 9155 Poplar, Suite 18.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
All 650 acquisition PK4TE 349.9980 MSRP 24,825 Siltos V 5010936 MSRP 27,130 Sorrento TG 5570 MSRP 34,280 Telluride VGO 42305 MSRP 44,655 EV9 TG 007,645 includes all rebates and incentives. PFA 95 minus finance through KFA excludes tax time and license with approved credit dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/26.
Jeff Allen, what's happening over at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
Randy, I got some mind-blowing deals going on over here on Mount Moriah. 2026 Kia K4 LXS 229 a month, $34.99 due at signing. 2027 Kia Seltos LX 269 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2026 Kia Sorrento LX, we got it at $319 a month. And a 2027 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, only $449 a month. All 24-month lease, $39.99 due at signing. And 2026 EV9, $12,000 off MSRP or get 0% for 60 months.
All equipped with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
NST's been taking down insurance giants for over 35 years. Big firm power with hometown heart? Yeah, they don't play. It's that combination that has helped them win billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
What a trooper Pete Pranica, the voice on TV of the Grizzlies, is. Just landing. We swapped times around so we could get Pete on, and we appreciate Pete's effort. Good morning, Mr. Pranica. Tell me your analysis of the Memphis championship arrival, and then didn't get it all done, but got to the championship game of the Vegas Summer League. Your thoughts on all of that, and I'm glad you made it home safe and sound.
Yeah, well, yeah, the airlines came through, more or less.
Yeah.
No, I think what I liked about it, Wolo, was the fact that the Grizzlies decided to go for it, that they were going to play their guys, they were going to try to win the championship. I thought that was a good statement from the franchise overall. Cam Boozer, as good as advertised, first team all summer league. Cedric Coward also played very well. It was a team that played collectively, and that's a word you're going to hear a lot this year, because when you look at this roster, you see talent, but you don't see anybody who's probably going to be in the All-Star game this year. So they're going to have to do it collectively. And this is a good group. And in talking with Javon Small and some of the other guys in Vegas, they said, hey, look, we're all around the same age. We kind of bring the same perspective to everything. And I think that is going to be a big help for this team going forward. And, a bad spell late against Golden State cost them the championship. But look, they got there. And with the exception of a cold shooting game against Dallas, they were a very, very powerful offensive team throughout.
ESPN made Boozer the MVP of the whole tournament. I'm curious where you think he's got to get better. What has he got to do to be a factor his rookie year?
I think number one, defensively, the defense has to improve. The only thing that I noticed from him watching the game against Dallas, the summer league team had real good length, and when he goes on the box, he was able to dominate guys in the lower defensive area in college. The NBA is going to be a different thing. So I think counter move. He's going to have to learn those. He's going to have to invent some, refine his game, his post game. But outside of that, there's not a whole lot to correct about him. But he's a winner. He plays with a very even keel throughout, high basketball IQ. I think, but like I said, defensively, probably with some work there, and then also work on post moves and counter moves, and just dealing with the physicality of the NBA, because it's an entirely different level from the ACC in college basketball.
You mentioned Coward. I thought he was up and down. I thought sometimes he was trying too hard. I'm amazed. I don't know of any other all-rookie NBA player that played the next year in the Summer League. I could be wrong, but I don't remember it. I guess it was a message from Zach Kleiman. They wanted to win this championship this summer.
Well, the whole thing is, look, Wolo, you've been around this as long as I have. Losing becomes a habit, and it's a habit you want to shake. It's like, okay, the Grizzlies spent the last couple months basically not trying to win games, Now with this young group, you don't want that taste to linger in their mouths. Now you've got a fresh start. So let's go out there. Let's try to win some games. Let's try to put W's there. And like I said, that's why I said it at the top of our conversation. I just think it was a good decision by the Grizzlies to organizationally say, hey, we're going to play our guys and we're going to try to win this thing, rather than, well, we got to get a look at everybody and, we're going to save our guys and we're not going to expose them to injury or anything like that they went for it. I thought that was a real good decision on the part of the Grizzlies, and, very nearly got the championship.
And the third member of this triumvirate that led the Grizz to this championship was the point guard Small. Does this solidify his position as the third guy? I'm guessing behind Jerome and Pippen. What happens with Small? And if that's the case, what happens with Walter Clayton?
You ask a lot of very, very good questions, and the reality is I'm not entirely sure. We don't know what we have in Walter Clayton. That's one of the things that is a question mark. Did not play in Summer League. His season last year was truncated a little bit due to injury, also the fact that there was a trade involved in there. All I know is that the Grizzlies front office is very happy with, to use a football phrase, the point guard room. So how it all shakes out, I don't know. Javon Small is currently on a two-way. Did the Grizzlies keep him on a two-way? Obviously, the continued rehab of Walter Clayton is going to be a factor in how this all plays out. So, and you can throw in Cam Spencer as a combo guard, as a guy who can play. So,
he's on a contract, though. He's already signed, sealed, and delivered.
Exactly. So it's going to take, I think, an awful lot of thought about how they want to play. Maybe Ty Jerome plays more off the ball. We'll see about that. It's going to be. I think training camp this year will be very interesting to see who continues to separate themselves once you get the whole squad. It's easy to look at Javon Small in Summer League and say, hey, man, he was fantastic. I believe he's an NBA rotational point guard, but the Grizzlies have a lot of bodies at that space, and how does this all play out?
Here's another interesting thing. I did not know this till I read this story. You know who the longest tenured Grizz is?
Yeah, G.G. Jackson.
G.G. Jackson. We found out his name is Gregory, too. I didn't know that either.
Yep.
G.G. Jackson. That's how many changes have been made. How do you see G.G. Jackson fitting in here?
The OG veteran. What can I tell you?
Yeah, right.
Well, he understands that he needs to be better defensively, to not be at least not a defensive liability, that people are going to put him in pick and rolls and challenge him. I think he will continue to embrace. I thought he had a real good year last year. I thought his mind was in the right place after a rocky sophomore season. So I think he's in a real good headspace now. He's getting more involved in the community. The kid just has a big heart, and he wants to please and wants to excel. And I think he's going to be a very valuable wing. This is going to be a team, well, like I said, you're going to hear the word collective an awful lot. Collective basketball. That is the way that Tomas Isola likes to coach it. That means everybody's got to contribute. Everybody's got to be valuable. Everybody's got to play. I don't know that it's going to be a flashback to the Hubie Brown 10-man rotation, but from top to bottom, this is a fairly talented roster, and everybody, I think, has the opportunity to earn minutes.
All right, weird story this week pertaining to free agency and the guy who craves attention, LeBron James. The Miami Heat inadvertently sent a link to a YouTube channel that was supposed to be a press conference with LeBron James. They said, it was a mistake. What do you think about that? Where do you think LeBron's really going to end up?
If he, as he has been saying, if it is all about happiness, then I think you go back to Cleveland. You go back to Ohio. You're the hometown hero. That to me would be the neatest, the simplest. If you go to Golden State, maybe it's to chase a ring. Maybe it's to play with Steph Curry. Miami, run it back after, how many years? I don't know. It's, I know you don't want to rush the guy, but, a lot of us would really like to see the NBA schedule and get all this stuff sorted out. And he's basically holding up the process, which is certainly his right. He's a free agent; he can do whatever he wants to. But it's taken a little bit more time than I think everybody would like.
What are the other dominoes that fall once he finally makes his pick? I don't know if there's something to that Miami deal. I mean, that would be intriguing with Giannis and Bam Adebayo. That'd be a pretty good trio if he can play up to the level that he even played last year. I mean, he's going to be 41. When this season begins. But once he makes that decision, what other dominoes then quickly fall?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think about different free agent type situations. The team that does not get him is now going to be scrambling. I mean,
Right.
Minnesota even allegedly is part of this mix. So there are going to be some teams that might be scrambling if they think that they have a legitimate shot at him. We think D'Angelo Russell might be available.
Yeah, right.
So, there aren't a whole lot of free agents out there, but his landing with whoever he lands with may then open up potential trading partners. Again, the Grizzlies are in a situation where they've got too many guys. They actually have 24, but three of their rookies are not yet officially signed, or three players are not officially signed to deals. So technically they're at 21. The Grizzlies have too many guys, and they're going to have to pair. Now, is that a buyout for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, or for D'Lo? Remains to be seen, or can you make a deal? But nobody can make any deals right now until LeBron decides where he wants to go.
I am glad you landed on time. We appreciate your flexibility. We will talk next week.
Sounds good.
That is our guy. That is Pete Pranica, the voice on TV of your Grizzlies. He's brought to you by Shell Dunn. Temperatures are soaring. The interest rates and inventory of homes also climbing. And when you want to sell your home, who are you going to call if you want the job done? You call my guy, Shell Dunn, Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf Realtors, because he sells houses, whether the market's good, bad, or even terrible. Don't take it for granted that your friend, a relative, or a neighbor who might be in the real estate business can do it for you. Go with a guy who is trusted, who's got a strategy. It's a strategic marketing program that gets you to the closing table quicker and for more money. So if you want to find that sweet spot, and that's what you need to beat the competition, call or email Sheldon Rosengarten, 483-0546, or his website, memphisrelocate.com. That's right, relocate's in the name. That's memphisrelocate.com, or 483-0546. Get it done with Sheldon. We are done. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Can't wait for all of that, but don't go anywhere. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.